We say that God has revealed himself, that is, God has made himself known through nature. We say that God, who has created the world, has left imprints of himself, that the world around us is imprinted with the very presence of God. This we term natural revelation. The natural or ordinary revelation does not presuppose any knowledge of particular events or persons or special times or places. In other words, we may know nothing about Jesus Christ, but still, upon observing the world around us, may come to admit that it has been created by someone infinitely loving. You see, it's a matter of sensitivity to God's presence and activity in all of nature and history. Many fathers of the Church have consistently taught of an awareness of God given through nature. Indeed, they have explained that the contemplation of nature is a way of coming into communion with God. Immanuel Kant, the great 18th century German philosopher of reason, also taught that the starry heavens above and the moral law within can be a means of knowing God. This implies that God is mediated through nature, through the beauty and grandeur of the world, through the beauty and grandeur of creation, and through the inner voice of every person's conscience. We have many examples of this. St. Gregory the theologian, the great 4th century father, wrote, and I quote, "Look at the beauty of the skies, the course of the sun, the round moon, the millions of stars, the harmony and rhythm of the world. For example, the recurring seasons, days and nights, the fruits of the earth, the vastness of the air, the ceaseless motion of the waves, the horizon, the beauty of each unique face, the gift of friendship with our friends, the variety of colours, the variety of different smells." Indeed, many faithful people today would be able to identify with the above quote. You see, throughout the centuries, there are many stories similar to St. Gregory's, which recount an intense inner experience of God as they watch the setting of the sun over the ocean, or even like Elijah in the Old Testament. They have experienced God in a moment of profound peacefulness and stillness in the middle of nature's beauty. Indeed, Elijah's experience is beautifully expressed. We find it in 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 11 to 13, and I'd like to read it to you. God said, "Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by." Now there was a great wind, so strong that it was splitting mountains and breaking rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a sound of sheer silence. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. Then there came a voice to him and said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Still, for others today in the modern world, there are stories of people gazing down upon the clouds, looking out from an aeroplane window, for example, and somehow discerning the majesty of the Creator God. There are people who describe discovering God in poetry or in art. Beyond the diversity of these different accounts, that which is common is that all these experiences are in fact coming from God. God is the one who is taking the initiative to make himself known. God can be known in human experience. Thus, if God's initiative is always prior to any human response, this signifies that theology is not primarily a human endeavour, even though it inescapably involves our personal commitment. Rather, theology essentially is a response to God's revelation.